Hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, or good night. Welcome to the Dextego Playbook Show, where every month we talk about ways you can level up your sales game with AI while keeping it human. More important than ever, I'm here with Shari Aser, GTM leader with 20 plus years of experience in B2B SaaS. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Excited to
Now,
be here.
it's 100% an honor and a pleasure to have a sales folk here as well to talk about how can we learn more and how to use AI, mainly how can we use Dextego to level up our sales game. So, Sherry, I
Absolutely.
I have some questions here for you today. And the first one is what are the essential AI integrations that modern sales teams should consider implementing? And what also implementations have you done in your career?
So there's not a perfect list, but in my recommendation is exploring a couple of key areas. First, conversational intelligence tools such as Gong for call recording, AI powered CRM assistants, Salesforce Einstein, HubSpot AI, lead scoring and routing algorithms that really help ensure outreach and intents and making sure you're getting the best leads to your team. Generative AI tools like ChatGPT and Dextego and others, right? That really help ensure that your teams are leveraging these, that they're getting the information that's needed, that they're getting the best training that they can, and they're really leveraging. And then if you want to go to the next level, you can have more intelligent platforms that use AI to integrate sales and marketing information and have customer success and actionable insights. But really, it's a journey that you're on around leveraging AI. And it's really exploring that throughout your sales team and then implementing those and ensuring adoption. It's really critical to the success. It's not just about having the cool new stack. If your teams aren't using it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a fact. And, always got to be checking on them, see the onboarding was done correctly, right? And if they're actually using that tool. So,
Yeah.
did all of these tools enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of your sales process? How so?
Sure. So, also to answer the previous question you asked about my own experiences. So,
Mm-hmm.
in my own experiences, I've led implementations and utilized many of these tools throughout my career. Utilize Gong, I've utilized Salesforce. And I think what's great about them is you really can ensure your productivity is continuing to increase. It doesn't replace the importance of human interaction and ensuring that your teams are trained and are utilizing the tools. It's really about getting those additional efficiency gains and effectiveness, right? So that the valuable human resources that you're paying for, that you're using them the best possible way to get the drive the most amount of revenue for your team. Right. So a great example for me is, and I always look to my own personal life about how I might interact with AI. So, for example, I needed to place a service call the other day. I had um, my water heater, my hot water heater went in my house. So it was a little chilly taking a shower in the morning. So, I called in for service and the AI bot answered the service call and said, "Hi, I'm your, name your oil company's service bot." And it said, "How can I help you today?" And so you say, "Okay, well, my hot water heater is not working. I need a technician." And at the end of the day, I still need a technician to come to my house, right? The AI bot can schedule that meeting, can ensure that the time that the technician comes is a convenient time for me and my family. But at the end of the day, I can't send a bot to my house to fix the hot water heater. I still need that trained individual, that trained technician to come out and do that. And I think that's a perfect example how we utilize AI every single day. It's made call scheduling much better. It's made it more efficient. It ensures that could I also have potentially done that through their customer portal? Yes, it would just happen to be, 6:30 in the morning and I was, cold from not being able to take a hot shower. So I was just grabbed my cell phone, right? I didn't go onto the portal, remember my password and all that. But these are great ways that we can take that efficiency into our lives and utilize it, right? As a result, I had a trained technician that showed up on time, had the parts needed to fix my issue in my home, and I didn't have to wait and have an additional service call, right? So my customer experience is, I gave them a 5 out of 5, right? Because they had a great experience. Technicians trained out on time, serviced my hot water heater, and at the end of the day, now I have hot water. So I'm happy. And I'm going to refer them and recommend them as a great service company for the future.
That is so nice. I love this real life example. That's
Yes.
basically, everyone's every day.
Yes. Right. We all prefer having hot water. It's really nice to have.
Well, for me, it's a must. It's a need to
Yeah.
have. I can't do cold showers. That's my biggest problem. When we're in sales, we love to be an early adopter, right?
Yes.
And take those sales tools when they're emerging. So
Yeah.
nowadays, what emerging sales tech tools you see that has the most promise for improving
Yeah.
sales performance?
So for me, it's Dextego. I am so impressed with what Iona and her team have done in developing this tool. The fact that we can now have AI contextually training our sales enablement to have consistency around sales enablement. Having run many large sales enablement sessions over the course of my career and attended many of them, a speaker can have a great day, a speaker can have an off day. The speaker, may be running late yourself. You might have a flight canceled if you had to attend the training in person. But with the ability to utilize AI and great recordings is you can have a sales training happen. You can have that AI interaction. You can be doing it from wherever you are, whenever you are. So if your best time to do training in your day is late in the evening, because that's what works best and it's after your workday, or your boss has asked you to do some type of training during your workday, again, it's consistently delivered. You don't have to take an extensive amount of time out of the territory and miss that valuable time with your clients. You're able to have that repeatable training, ensure success. You can also track how your teams are doing. So, for example, if Shari takes the test after the training and I get a 5 out of 5 on the score, but Augusto takes the training and he only gets a 2 out of 1, well, maybe there was something inconsistent with how the individual delivered that material versus if it's consistently delivered. You can see progress and you can go back and say, okay, why is it working so well for this individual but not another individual, right? Is there something we need to look at? Is there some additional information? And as we're hiring people, is there some sort of skill set that we know makes them a better performer when they have come with this particular background? Again, measurable successes, things that we're able to track, consistency and efficiency, all delivered through tools like Dexico.
Wow, that is amazing. I love to see that from someone that is using the platform, is not biased as me using Taggle T-shirt.
Yes, right, exactly. No, no t-shirt on. I just think it's a great tool and I'm really excited for the future and what this platform has to offer.
Oh, that is amazing. No, thank you so much for this insight. And I like to invite all the finance leaders listening to this show. I have a question that you guys gonna like. It is, how can companies actually measure return on investment on their tech sales stack investment?
So there's, depending upon the firm, there's lots of different KPIs that one might use, but I think it's really important to look at, some leading indicators and some lagging results, right? So things like adoption rate. That's key. So is your team utilizing the tools? You can make an investment on the cool new widget of the day, but if no one's using it in your environment and you're not seeing the results, then it doesn't matter. It's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it was free or if it costs, $1 million. You have to ensure that teams are adopting it, that teams are implementing it and using it, and that you're then measuring time saved per rep, right? Are you actually seeing at an individual rep level any benefit? So, for example, are we having to be able to save on manual tasks such as email drafting, CRM updates? Is there a better way of doing that? Is there a more efficient way? Can we help in terms of have consistent information that's shared? Can we have just, little circles that we fill in and we don't have to have everything be customized, right? What's the conversion rate across our pipeline? Are we converting any of these deals? Are we not, right? So we implemented this great tool, but we're not seeing any, revenue or converting out of that. What's the velocity, right? What's our deal velocity? Are deals taking longer now that we've implemented this
Mm.
tool? Are we able to accelerate that? Win rates, right? Are we winning any deals? Are we winning less deals? Again, because we're not able to move the deal through the process. The new tool is taking it too long. It's arduous for something that's not happening well. And at the end of the day, it's all about revenue, right? So what is the average revenue per rep? Are we driving consistent for that investment that's been made? Are we getting more revenue per rep as a result of utilizing that tool? If the
Wow, that is
answer is
fantastic.
no to low on any of those, maybe you need to reevaluate the tool that you're using or make sure that you've implemented it right, right? Sometimes you start utilizing a tool and then we realize, oh, you know what? That wasn't actually the use case it was intended for. So let's go back and double check that we've actually implemented that to the best of our abilities and that we've got the right type of individuals over it. Do we have a power user? Are we using it for the right ICPs, et cetera?
Oh, yeah, that is so smart. Well, thank you so much for sharing this because sometimes we want all the tools, right? But then is it really important? Like at the end of the day, is it bringing any revenue? Is helping you close deals or not? I think that
Right.
we need to filter down to those simple questions.
And if you're not, then I think it's also fair to say, hey, you know what? This isn't the right tool and why. And I think the other really important part of implementing tool strategies is ensuring that you're getting regular feedback from the reps that are using it, right? So, if Shari's been using it for the last, 10 days and she's struggling with it and it's slowing down her sales process and having a problem, is that information getting fed back to the vendor of choice? Are you sharing that information? Are you ensuring that they understand why this isn't working well for your business? Make sure that feedback loop is there.
Yeah, that is great, because at the end of the day, if you are the one on the trenches, using that equipment, you need that feedback. And it brings
Exactly.
me to ask a question: is how do you see the sales tech stack evolve in the next few years, and what should companies do to actually stay ahead?
Yeah. So first, look at your own business, right? Where are the areas that you think that you can continue to accelerate within the business, right? Ensuring that you're going to see a lot of the sales, I think, tech stack shift towards AI native platforms where AI is going to be embedded, right? So it's not going to be the cool new, I use AI in my tool, right? Everybody's going to have that natively. But again, what are you driving forward? How is it just accelerating that process? So you're going to see things like unified data ecosystems that eliminate the silos across marketing, sales, and customer success. You're already seeing that today. Even how companies are structuring their overall organization, where they're much more, consolidating those silos and ensuring that everybody has access to the same data, that everybody's making decisions across that information. They're using one CRM tool that all elements of the business have access to, and they're seeing all that information so that when they get a new lead in from customer A, everybody knows, oh, you know what, that customer is using this bit of information, or they've never done business with us, or we have someone that used to work at that company but now they're actually at another firm that we do business with. So again, ensuring that information is consistent, ensuring that we understand how it is. If the client has deployed a particular offering that we have and we have a customer success team engaged, how is that working? Have we had good deployment experience, or are they really frustrated and they haven't had that? Have they canceled the contract? Have we had any types of churn with this particular client? So again, making sure that there's that consistency and really trying to ensure that those silos are you know less and that there's much more integration. We see this today, autonomous selling agents, right? The product really suggests the next thing. So if we all think about when we're on various marketplaces, right? You may be shopping for a tool at Home Depot, and all of a sudden it's going to say, "Oh, well, we see you're buying, a new, plumbing supply. Oh, we have seen that the last 12 people that have bought this particular item typically needs this other item as well, this particular wrench or this particular screwdriver or whatever it may be." And again, making those recommendations so that you're set up for success. That is really going to be key. And clients are more and more expecting it because we have that in our personal lives. So certainly as we're looking for our B2B clients, they expect that. It's
Hmm.
it's it's not it's not a nice to have, it's an expectation that you as their rep are coming to that meeting with them knowing all there is to know about their account or everything else that they've done, or they might be working with a partner of yours or through the channel, etc. You have to have that information and it has to be at your fingertips. It can't be something where you're searching across multiple databases like, oh, wait a minute, I need to check this or I need to check that. Again, you as that individual rep should have all that information at your fingertips. And then finally, it's making sure that you have the video and intelligence. So maybe you're using an avatar, and there's a lot of great companies out there that have implemented AI avatars as part of their selling process. This is great. This is especially helpful in financial services where we've come accustomed of, hey, it's your instead of having to go into your local branch, you may have Sally, your banker, your avatar that pops up that can talk to you about maybe opening a new loan or helping you open a new account, or if your children are going off to college, they know that information and they'll make a recommendation for you around opening a new checking account for your college age children, versus maybe using Greenlight or some other technology, right? So lots of great examples of how this is continuing to expand out throughout various industries.
That is awesome. Until we get there, that all our main tools are integrated with AI, are embedded, and we can all do all of that. I've seen that some companies are facing trouble when integrating AI tools to the current CRM because one is, well, super updated, the other one is like a legacy software, just like
Mhm.
putting amazing wheels in a 100-year-old car, right? It's not going to
Right.
work correctly. So how can sales teams overcome those common challenges when doing this integration?
Yeah, so I think it all starts at the core is with data, right? Data is key to everything in our lives, and I think as you were saying, is garbage in is garbage out, right? So if you don't have clean data, if you don't know if you have clean data, it's very important to start with that. You need to know how you're making these recommendations, how you're ensuring that your salespeople have the right information and that the clients, right, as you're implementing AI solutions for your clients, making sure that the AI recommendations, that the tools are only as smart as the data you feed it. And I think that that's really important to remember is that if we feed bad data into an AI tool, it's going to give you bad recommendations. There's just no other way around it. And that is where you, as the human or your sales teams, need to ensure that you're spot checking it, right? That you're looking at that information that, hey, you know what? This isn't really the right best answer. Let's make sure we're continuing to train it, we're continuing to refine it. The more you play around with these tools, the more information you train it with, the better it will become and the better recommendations you'll get. So that's the first thing. Look at ways in terms of, the impact, right, in your business, where you're going to have, less friction or less challenges where you're not ripping and replacing. So, right, is there a quick win in a particular client's environment that you could implement one of these AI capabilities where you're going to be able to show that result very quickly? And then once they see that, they're going to be more inclined then to again adopt it throughout their enterprise. But it's not going to, you're not going to just turn a switch and all of a sudden everything is going to have AI. That's probably not the right scenario. It's around picking and choosing the right applications where you're going to see the benefit and see it quickly, right? Where people can tell, okay, you know what? I'm getting better information. I'm getting better results. I'm seeing the desired outcome. And at the end of the day, you're driving more revenue.
I think that is fantastic. Everybody there, take notes, please. And this is the last question I have for you right now is desert island situation. If
Okay.
you need to choose only three AI tools for the
Mm.
rest of your life, what are you picking?
Well, okay. So I would definitely pick a tool like a Dexago and a Chat GPT, right? Something that I can feed the information. So for example, I'm on a desert island and all of a sudden I get, bitten by a snake that I've never seen before. I want to be able to take a picture of my snake bite and be able to send that into some database of the health registry to know, okay, is this a poisonous snake or is this a non-poisonous snake? So I do think that's a really critical tool, and having it at your fingertips on your phone, incredibly invaluable. I think though also too is as you are developing an organization and training people, and again, if you're on a desert island and then you find you need to learn something and you find some other people that you're going to work with and maybe you're going to be able to build a canoe so you can paddle yourself, you might need to train each other. You might need to make sure that you have consistent training and that we, especially if we don't all speak the same language, and I think that's really important is that if we don't, or how do you survive for food, right? So again, going out, I've only got maybe I'm canoe, I'm paddling across. I've made a spear. I'm gonna, hunt for fish. Okay, but how do I do that? How do I learn to cook that? How do I learn, all that information and that training is absolutely imperative. And then I think it's about continuing your success, making sure that the data, and I assume I do have a smartphone device for all of this. And I might be able to phone a friend or phone for help. But being able to ensure that you're speak if it's a translator, if it's some sort of thing again to help you communicate or to help you to get to safety, right? Figuring out how you put a flare up and get yourself off the island, right? In that scenario. But yes, I do hope that on the desert island you still have a smartphone device because AI tools without that are probably
Oh no, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love all the scenario you painted us here for us. And thank you so much for answering all these questions. I think the main takeaways we can take from this episode is that you don't need all the tools. You need the
no.
right tools for solving your problems. There is no one size fit all. So you gotta go on the market, gotta learn, gotta understand your problem, and always be sure you have the right data. Without that, we have nothing.
Yes.
Data is king.
Data is king. We all feel it in our everyday lives. You don't want to walk into an appointment and someone have the wrong information pulled up about you. It's really important that you have that. It's important in everything that we do, and we expect that. That's the starting point. That you need to know my information. You need to know who I am as your client. You shouldn't come in the door not knowing that. Even if I've never done business with you before, when I walk in, and I think that's the other thing about AI, is more and more the expectation is when you first interact with me, you already know something about me.
Oh, that is amazing. Yes, it's just like going to the doctor. You can't go to the doctor and sit there and they're like, "Oh yes, you're 100 years old. You don't have one leg, and yeah, you suffer from your heart." Come on, no, just look at me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
No,
So
that is
well
fantastic.
said.
Thank you so much for being here. This was a wonderful episode, and for everyone watching there, thank you so much, and see you next month.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, that is all. Thank you so much, Shari. Have a good one, and enjoy your week.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.